Hello there, and welcome back to the Sky Guys podcast. We are wrapping up the Star Wars video game club for the time being. We are closing out our coverage of Knights of the Old Republic. We finished the game this week here, getting through the storyline, and do a little odds and ends here as we wrap up the podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Phillips. With me, as always, our KOTOR chief party member, Max Rowers here. Max, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. Sad this little foray back into KOTOR is ending, but excited to have gotten to replay it with you all.
Yep. Also with us today, the new Dark Lord of the Sith, Nick D'Alessio, is here. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing good. Do you come up with these beforehand or are these just like on the cuff?
It's about 50-50.
Okay, because I always wonder what I'm going to be, and every time I'm like, oh, that's good. But yeah, it's weird that the game's finally over. It feels like we've been doing this forever, and it also feels like we just started doing this. It's a interesting feeling.
It is an interesting feeling here. We're gonna wrap the game up here today. And Nick, we mention it all the time. You want to subscribe to the podcast? You can do so on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all your suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys here podcast platform. Fun episodes there. And the OG crew is coming back next week, so we have some more stuff planned here for the summer. So make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, if you're hopping in now for the first time, we're not the normal crew. We're this temporary video game crew. The regular crew comes back next week, so definitely subscribe and check all of them out and see what the normal show looks like.
Yeah, Nick and Max are filling in for our regular co-host Nick Frey and Pete Constantine. Both will be back next week. Take a little time off the podcast. And Max, if you want to keep us on social media, how can I do that?
They can follow us at Sky Guys Podcast or email skyguyspod@gmail.com.
Yep, you can also check out our social media comment of the week. You can check us out on the video version, which is the Sky Guys Podcast YouTube channel to check that stuff out here. We'll go to TikTok again. This discussion we had last week about Kathleen Kennedy's and/or comments. This comment is from Z, who says, I'm glad they took what they thought was a risk. It was worth it, and I hope we get lots of different and complex stories. We still have Jedi and lightsabers, but with writing that we can connect to the way and/or got through to so many of us. So Max, I think this is the exact takeaway we had last week. Like, give us good and/or quality writing on the lightsaber Jedi shows, and we'd be very happy.
I think that's right. You don't need to have fan service to have a good Star Wars story. You can do a lot with the universe and the questions that are posed. You can certainly have characters that are famous, but it just needs to be written well. And that's, I think, kind of the more important point in telling all these things.
Yeah, I'll also give a shout out to Patrick Trollnick, who said never seen these guys before, loving the vibe here. So they like the KOTOR Party Squad.
Yeah, it's almost maybe next time there's a big video game thing, or maybe KOTOR 2. I don't know if the community demands it. We'll see.
Yeah, if you guys want KOTOR too, make sure you let us know. Skyguyspod@gmail.com, or at least in comments in the videos he wants a KOTOR 2 at some point down the line. But Nick, let's
Another big one is none of us have, we've all played KOTOR 2, but none of us have played the Old Republic, like the MMO, right?
yeah, that one's another one that's another possibility down the road.
Yeah. First time playthrough if anyone wants to see that.
All right, so we'll put that out in the ether in case anybody's interested in this. But let's get to some Star Wars news, Nick, here. And there's a very interesting rumor popping up right now about a show we thought was long over.
Yeah, a show that I think initially they said was going to be one season, a one and done kind of thing, or maybe just a mini series. But yeah, there's a rumor circulating that Disney is developing season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Max, thoughts on this? Because they seemed like they left you a nice, tidy ending.
I mean, I cannot complain about seeing more Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I am obviously very curious how he went from looking like Ewan McGregor to Alec Guinness in the span of 10 years. A lot of graying of the hair. No, I didn't think it was a show that needed a season two, but I'm interested to see what they do with it. I guess there still is a gap between the show and episode four uh, that they could evaluate, but they got to be careful. It's like kind of you don't want to screw up too much of the continuity, and I felt like they were taking a little bit of a taking some leeway with the stories where he apparently knew Leia and in episode four, then she's like, I've never met you before, but I heard about you. So I don't know. There's a balance.
Yeah, Nick, I think the thing that I can buy this to an extent because they want to have a Disney Plus presence, and the only thing we know that they're working on is Ahsoka season two, which will come out next year. I can see maybe this is a 2027 idea, but to me, I'm like, what story are we telling here that's worth having Ewan McGregor back because I feel we kind of did everything we needed to do in Kenobi.
Yeah, they left off with Qui-Gon, right, as a Force ghost, so maybe they start going a little bit and further into that. But I don't know. I feel like my first thought is I'm like, I don't think we need this. But also, if this is coming on the heels of them saying that, post Andor, we're gonna do things a little differently, like maybe they do write this a little bit better. I mean, just to the comment before, if the writing's good, we'll watch it. I mean, so I don't know. I don't think it's needed, but I'm optimistic to see what they come up with it.
All right, we'll keep an eye on this. He was actually more than just a rumor. And what else we got, Nick?
Yeah, so Star Wars website has released an official galaxy map for the first time in years. And this is where if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, we're gonna
We're,
show it to you right now.
we're
You're
gonna
gonna
look
we're
at
gonna you're gonna see it.
we're gonna look at the map right now.
What a segue right there.
Yeah, so we got the map here. There's lots of fun stuff going on here. You can see they really have a lot of planets like all over the board here and hot space, some crazy stuff here. I'm trying to find these specific portions of the map I wanted to go. A couple things I mentioned here, like one of the planets we're talking about today, Rakata is on the map, and we know that
It's the
Andor
other side,
actually,
right?
wait a sec,
I think it's on the other side
it might
of the
be on
map.
this side towards the unknown region area. Yeah, Rakata
Yeah,
Prime right here.
there we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like that planet, which we mentioned, is mentioned in Andor, the Rakatan invasion, that is something we talk about in this game, happened 25,000 years prior to Andor. So this is something that I think they just canonized from the Old Republic era here. That's a fun fact if you want to keep an eye on that. Maybe this Dawn of the Jedi movie, we get to see this kind of invasion.
Yeah. So I had some. Oh, sorry. Was there more you want to talk about on the map, or?
You can do that while I'm kind of moving the map.
Yeah. So I think something interesting we're going to get into the Ricotta today is in Legends, they're not involved with the Jedi. As far as I understand it, there's we're gonna talk about it today. Their civilization is effectively wiped out, and then sometime later, the Jedi, I think around 25,000. But given the proximity to Octo, which I think in the now canon is like the Jedi
Oct-
homeworld,
Octo right over here.
yeah, and then also Jeddah, I think is pretty heavily involved
It's right.
in yeah, and Rakata Prime. It might be that the in the new canon version, the Rakata are involved in the rise of the Jedi, given the proximity to these Jedi planets. It's just a hypothesis, but that would be an interesting rewriting of Legends, but something I could see being not something I'm upset about.
Yeah, it's a fun fact here. Another one, I'm trying to find Dathomir on the map because there's a point I want to make about Dathomir. So, do you remember where on the map this would be Max relative?
No, let me hold on. Let me Google it right now. Dathomir is, let's say, good old Wikipedia is what I
I wonder
usually
how
go.
many how
Outer
many
Rim.
outer Rim- how many of these planets are, I mean, I guess it's all canon, right? Because this is official. I'm just wondering how many of these planets, like what number of planets are here, A and B? How many have we like seen
They're probably
versus like,
a lot of these are in books, I would
Wait,
say.
Mike, do you see? Sorry, do you see the hiding way? Is
Heidi and Way.
that number five?
Yes, I'm trying to
Okay,
follow that.
it should be somewhere on there,
Yep, right
according
here.
to this.
So here we
Yep,
go.
there we go.
There's Dathomir, and look what's right next door to Dathomir. The Great
Great
At
Adam.
oh,
So,
interesting.
so maybe it's season two, like having Thrawn right next to the credits is gonna be an interesting thing.
Oh,
Darth
very interesting.
Maul, the Night Sisters apparently were right next to Adam the entire time.
Yep, they were. All right.
Huh.
Couple things. That's
Adam would be like easier to find given that so many people visited Dathomir during the animated series.
yeah. So we'll see what happens there. What else we got, Nick, in the news?
And then you missed all of that if you're just listening to this, just to plug the YouTube channel one more time.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, next we got there's rumors that are suggesting that Dakota Johnson is being eyed for a major role in an upcoming Star Wars project.
All right. So my guess would be Max. You remember a few weeks ago we talked about how Mikey Madison turned down a role in Starfighter?
Yes, I
My guess would
recall
be that
that.
they're looking. My guess would be Dakota Johnson looking after the same role.
That would seem to track.
Not official here, but that's my hunch. All right, and anything else, Nick?
One last thing. The Acolyte's official visual guide suggests that Chimere is far older than we think he is, and that he may be a pretender to the actual Sith lineage.
Whoa, 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 whoa. The Accolade as a visual guide.
Apparently, it just came out.
Okay.
You know that thing
Uh,
everybody was asking for? Yeah, it just came
yeah.
out.
Uh, That I don't know. I guess I don't know how old he is. I don't know how old people thought that he was. Yeah, I kind of thought that he was just like some adopter of the Sith philosophy versus necessarily someone's apprentice. That I felt was like kind of hinted by the show a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Technically, Darth Plagueis's master is what's his name? It's like Tenebrous or something.
Yeah, Tenebris.
Yeah, who is not human. So I never thought that he was his master. I guess he could have been his first apprentice, but I never got that vibe from him.
All right. Is that it for the news this week, Nick?
Yes, that's all we got for the news this week.
All right. Let's get to the end of the game here. So we got some interesting stuff here. We picked up after the end of Korriban with the final star map. So let's go ahead to talk about we find an unknown planet. We show up that we see the Star Forge, but this Evanhawk is taken down because of a disruptor beam. You land on this planet. Apparently, it's a ship graveyard, and you run into basically you see the funky looking aliens we've seen throughout the game in the holograms. Like we run into their species on this planet. It turns out this is Rakata Prime, and we learn that there are basically a savage tribe and the like wise older tribe, and you have to side with one of them. And we get to learn a lot of history of the galaxy here, Max, from this encounter in the game.
Yeah. So the Ricotta, who for some reason I feel like kind of look like Mon Calamari, but they also don't really. So we learn from the Savage tribe, we'll call them. They are led by this guy called the One, and they have been slowly conquering the various other tribes of Ricotta across this planet. And they are trying to challenge the elders, who seem to have some degree of technology left. And so, in the first instance, you're asked to help out the Ricotta, oh, sorry, the one's tribe of Ricotta in defeating the elders, so that you can get into the temple and get the Star Forge. On the flip side, we talk to the elders, and they're like, we remember everything that happened with our species. We dominated the entire galaxy for a period of time. We invented hyperspace travel. We enslaved all these alien races, like the Tusken Raiders, for instance, Wookiees. But we were corrupted by the power of the dark side and the Star Forge, and our empire eventually fell. There was also some sort of plague that wiped a lot of them out, and all the slave species rebelled. And so the elders are like, we want you to destroy the Star Forge because we don't want to repeat the sins of our forefathers, and we don't want, these other cannibalistic ricotta getting out there in the universe. And actually, I think in the Legends canon, the ricotta are like not just violent, but they're cannibals. Like they were eating each other, and they like killed the people that helped raise them up from these like primitive species.
Yeah, definitely some wild stuff there with the Ricotta here. And it's pretty clear that like if you were light side, you're usually siding with the Elder tribe and like helping retrieve their hostage to get there. And like apparently in the past, you learned that Revan went there and like made a deal with the Elders. Like, yeah, like I'll shut the Star Forge down for you. That's one of the Elders' goals here. It's like we want to stop this Star Forge from causing a blight on the galaxy. And basically Revan backstabs them, lets them like convince them to let Mal go into the temple with it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go alone. And then you end up in a situation here that you go ahead and you are going in there. And Max, do we agree as light side that we're going to go in alone at first? And then Jolie and Juhani show up and say, wait, like shit's going to go down and you need us by your side.
Yeah, I tried to convince. So sorry. Before I get into that, the one other really interesting thing about the ricotta is that I think we were talking last week about the thematic uh, path of the game, that we have this like very pure light side, good and evil. Then you get to Monan, that's more morally gray. And then you get to Korriban, which is sort of like making you feel empathy for the Sith, or that's the idea. And then I think in Rakata, you're seeing the excesses of a Sith Empire that, like, oh, if you keep going to the dark side, your empire is gonna collapse in on itself due to infighting and all that kind of stuff. So I thought thematically it fit in very nicely as like, if you want to go to the dark side, this is just a big warning flag to you.
Yep.
Um, Anyway, yeah, I tried to convince Jolie and Juhani to not come with me, but they were very adamant, and I was just like, all right, I guess so. So I used my persuade points, and I was allowed to bring both of them.
Yeah, like I said, no, wait, like I'm supposed to follow the ritual. They're like, no, you need to come with you. Like, and then I did the same thing. And Nick, dark side perspective, I'm assuming you sided with the Savage tribe.
Well, I didn't let the Savage tribe give me the option to side with them. So like you walk up to like their area first, and they're like, "Oh, you like killed a lot of our guys. Like you're strong. Like come meet our leader." And I was like, I think I just want to kill you guys too." And they were like, "Wait, are you no, like we're gonna outnumber you." And I'm like, "Nah, this is fine." And then I killed them all. And then I went into their base and I accidentally saved like the elder guy because I cleared out the whole base and all that was left was the elder guy. And he was like, "You freed me. Thank you. Come to my base." And he left. And I was like, "All right, well, I guess I'm doing this now." So that was the path that I kind of took to get there.
Yeah, so
Um,
either way, the Savage tribe gets wiped out.
I guess so. There might be a way to. I don't know if there's a way to like wipe out the elder tribe and stick with the savage tribe because I don't know if they know like that ritual needed to open up that force field. But the way that I did it was I just kind of killed everybody. Also speaking of like just the Star Forge and everything. So the Rakata, they're the builders, right? Like that's what
Yes.
they're the ones that create all the technology. You learn some interesting stuff about the technology too. Like the Star Forge itself, it's like kind of a living ship. It's not like it's living in the sense it's like organic or anything, but it kind of like the force whatever you're putting into it kind of like emits that. And the way the Rakata tried to destroy all the Starforge maps and the way the technology was built, it's like so advanced that it kind of fixes itself over time. So that's why they destroyed it, and that's why now all of a sudden you're able to find it, and that's why like nobody was able to find it prior to that, you know. So that's like a
Also,
nice little piece of like why was nobody able to find these star maps before? Because they were broken, they were fixing themselves over time,
Yeah,
which I thought was
also
pretty
interesting
cool.
that the maps are not maps. They were just like, here's the glory of our infinite empire, and you could just see all the different things. But they weren't actually like, here's the map to our foundry,
Yeah.
basically. And the Starforge is not really like it's not like a living thing. It's just it uses the dark side to create unlimited amounts of armor and weapons and ships and everything.
yeah,
It's just like a factory.
yeah, I believe it's like taking power from the star that it's over. That's how I was able to do this, like unlimited, basically.
Mhm. Yeah, so then when I got to the point where, they're gonna do the ritual, so it's funny, they're like, Revan, you betrayed us once before, you're not gonna do it again, right? And one of the options is like no, and one of the options is like no, parentheses, lie.
Yeah,
So so I did that when I was like, no, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it again, guys. And like I turned to the camera, I'm like, we're gonna do this again, guys.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but like
Breaking the fourth wall.
yeah, but Jolie was the one that came up and was like, "You're not going in alone," because I don't have Juhani at that point,
So it's
and
just you and Jolie.
it's just me and Jolie, and they really did not want that to happen, and I threatened to cut them up into a million pieces, and then he was like, "Okay, yeah, you can go in, sure, no problem." So that's how I ended up in like that main temple.
Yeah. So to understand like the Rakata side, like we act Max, I'm assuming you talked to them when you went to their base. Like the
The
Savage,
elders, yeah.
you talked to
So
you talked to the Savage people or no?
I talked to the Savage people. I did not kill them. I said, okay, I'll go check out the elder situation. I went to the elders and I told them basically the elders are like protected by this electric force field, so you have to tell them that you're Revan in order to be let in. And then the elders are like, we're actually trying to protect people. Like, please go rescue our members. And if you rescue our members, then maybe we'll help you because they're obviously very wary of trusting you. There's like five different persuade checks, and I failed all of them except for one as to whether they should trust me. So then I went back to what I thought is I could do a peaceful solution, but the second that you go back to the one's base,
They
they
start
confront you
attacking.
in there. Yeah, they're like, we saw you fraternizing with the elders, and I was like, well,
Which one
wait,
we
I
do?
was coming back to like help you guys with some genetic thing, and then they attack you. Then you have to fight the entire base.
Yeah, Nick, one of the things about this game that's frustrating is that like whichever side you don't go to is magically omnipotent and knows that you like screwed them over immediately.
Yeah, I think that's just we said it a couple times throughout this little mini series where I think it's just 2003, the technology, the programming, it's not to where it is where you have games like now, like a Baldur's Gate or like a Witcher where like there's a lot of room for like you can play multiple angles and sides. I think it's just a limitation of the
Era-
time.
The era. Yeah, I believe that
Yeah.
the savage solution was that I think they had a computer in the Elder base. You were supposed to hack into the computer and figure out how to get the information to open the temple. So that's how you could have gotten in there if you sided with the Savage tribe.
The elders did say that you do know how to get into it. It's just you're not going to be able to bring down the force field or whatever, the disruptor field. So, yeah, I guess that's how you would find that information.
Yeah, so you got to teach, and then you give them the information how to take the force field down for you, basically. All right. And while it's going on here, we see a cutscene earlier in the thing that Bastila has fallen to the dark side. Malik has corrupted her, and then you have a confrontation on the on the top of the temple there, and you basically she tries to implore you here. This is a big turning point in the game. Basically, locks in affirmatively what your action is. Light side of the force. You basically fight against her, refuse her temptation to join the dark side. Juhani's 100% believes in you. Jolie's with you. Bastila runs away and sets it up here. Nick, dark side, what happens when you say, sure, Bastila, I'm in?
First, an interesting thing that Bastila says just before that, just the table setting, she's like, she was being tortured for weeks. So, I in the game it kind of happens right away. But Jolie says something like, Bastila's been gone for a while. So I think it's implied that like while you're traveling around doing Corban, like a lot of time is passing. It's not just like a couple of hours. So I got up there to Bastila. She was she's like I'm part of the dark side now. Malik is the one. He's gonna rule everything. I'm with him. And I tried to tell her like, no, I'm Revan. I'm coming back. I want to take my throne back. And at first she fights me because she doesn't like. She's like, no, you're not strong enough for this. We reprogrammed you. You're not the Revan that you used to be. And then after you defeat her in battle, then she's like, oh my God, I see it now. You're the one we're supposed to follow. We're going to team up together and take out Malik, and you're going to be the one that's in charge of everything now. Um, while that's happening, Jolie's horrified. Jolie's like, he's like, no, like, I can't let this happen. Like, I'm going to stop you. Like, I can't. He's like, if you're going to really go down this path, then you're going to have to fight me. And me and Bastila kind of look at each other and we're like, okay. So then we take out Jolie and then make our way back down to the beach.
Yeah, they're basically like, you're like, bet.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
And you
interesting
do
too. There's an interesting dynamic between Bastila and Niblin, the main character. Once they're both dark, they kind of like because they have that link with each other. So now that they're both fully on the same side, I think I'm starting to see things, but character dynamics between them that you guys have probably been experiencing the whole game so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we do.
and by the way, if you don't kill Juhani, then you do also have to fight her in that scene too.
Mm.
Yeah, so basically, any Jedi are with you, like, and you make this is basically locks in your ending here. Like, you're going light or dark based on the choice you make at this temple.
It's kind of crazy though that like you make all these choices throughout the game to be a light side or a dark side character, but at the end of the day, you could be this paragon of justice, and at this final choice, you could go dark side, and it just doesn't actually matter. It's like
Yeah,
a little bit anticlimactic in a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is a little anticlimactic, although, like, I will say, like, after this, like, I do love that they don't let you rapid transit back to the Evan Hawk, where, like, especially if you go dark, so they make you think about what you've done and what you're gonna walk back into. It's so funny. Whereas, like, light side is kind of inevitable. So it's kind of like, okay, you're just taking your time because, like, we're gonna go back, just give them the update. And, like, everybody's on board with you. Nick, Dark side, how does this go when you come
So
back fast a little without Jolie?
I texted you guys a picture of my screen where with Jolie's dead body on the floor, and I was like, guys, this is getting intense. And I think Mike, you were like, just wait till you get to the beach. So we get to the beach, and Karth is like, oh, Bastille, I knew we would save you. Where's Jolie? And then Niblin's basically just like, I am the Dark Lord Revan now. I am in control. I'm gonna take over the Sith and we're gonna destroy the Republic. You're either with me or you're not. And then there's like a little debate between everybody on the beach saying like, wait a second, hold on, no way. Like Karth is obviously very against the idea of going against the Republic. He's like, I can't believe you're even thinking about doing this. Canderous is like, I'm with you, Revan, buddy, all the way, because you're my guy, Revan. Um, Zalbar hates it, but he has the life oath with you. So he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna side with you. And Mission is like, I doesn't want to side with you, but she doesn't believe you. She's like, I don't believe you. I don't think you're gonna actually kill us. I think there's something good in you. And I was like, oh, really? You think that? So then I killed Mission. Zalbar hated that so much. Zalbar attacked me, and then I had to kill Zalbar, and then Karth ran away. Karth was like, "We got to run. I'm getting out of this." And Karth just runs away. And I was about to go after him, but Bastila stops me, and she's like, "He's not worth it. We got bigger fish to fry." And that was that scene.
So basically, Nick
You
cut
know
his
what's
party in
even
half with that decision.
Yeah,
you know what's even more fucked up? You can apparently have Zalbar kill Mission under
that
the
was
dark
one of
side
the
ending,
options.
which
Yeah.
I'm
is just
surprised you
which
did
is
not pursue that yourself, considering how dark you've been in this game.
Well, I was wondering. I thought about it, and I'm like, that feels a little bit like too messed up for me. Like Nick, not Niblin.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been doing a lot of messed up things. I can poison an entire ocean, but like I can't have Zalbar kill Mission. That feels like too much.
fuck the people of Manan, but like the
Yeah.
Wookiee killing the Twilight, that's too
Yeah,
That's
no,
much.
I gotta draw the line somewhere. Yeah.
that's Nick's red line, not Niblin's.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not killing children. Well, actually, I guess I did kill Mission, so never mind.
Yeah,
I'll reload my save. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah,
Nick,
she is 14. That is I always forget that with her.
Yeah.
so Nick's party basically going into the Star Forge is basically down to himself, Bastila, Canderous, T3, and HK-47. That's all he has left.
Yep, that's it. The droids we didn't need to convince because they're droids. They'll follow, whatever their programming says.
And HK-47 was like, hell yeah, he Revan's back.
Yeah, yeah. Canderous is my guy now. Canderous is like the guy. He's like, I'm with you, Revan, all the way, buddy.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he basically he does the like the pro wrestler, like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so we get to the Star Forge next. And the Star Forge, I will say, very repetitive gameplay because I feel like for the first two levels, it's just waves and waves of Sith, of soldiers, of Dark Jedi. You're basically have to survive like an hour of like just destroying a bunch of dark side troopers and dark side soldiers. So this, I think, is like the one downside. The end game is a little repetitive, Max.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically, I mean, it is challenging just because of the amount of enemies that they throw at you. Um, the only cool part, and I totally missed this, so there's a terminal in the Star Forge that you can go to, and you can make all this different armor depending on the amount of spikes. And if you're on the light side, you can get like this very famous Starforge armor, which is basically like a white Jedi robe with a brown belt. I have like a Funko Pop of Revan that he's wearing this armor. I was just out of spikes. I had like three too few. And so I
Oh
didn't get,
man,
did you get it? Did you get the armor?
I did not get the armor. I couldn't even find the station. I went the wrong way.
Oh, it is, I don't know. Can we put up the armor on the screen at all? And
Uh,
then
you could send me the link. I can actually, if you could find it, like we could potentially screen share it. So,
yeah, here, I'll send you the link right now.
actually, you could share it from your screen if you want, Max, because I give you the
Oh,
ability to share. So,
oh, cool. All right, give me 1 second. I will share this. Yeah, there we go. So this is the Starforge armor. Um,
we're getting a black screen on your end. So,
oh, well, that didn't wait.
I'm
That's
gonna
a
get. Ah, it's paused, so let's give it a second here. We'll let it load.
So while we wait for it to load, I actually didn't mind the last like rush, the final like running through and having enemies attacking you all over the place. Because like at this point, all of my force powers are so fully loaded that like I was like force lightning, take out 10 guys, force kill, take out 10 guys. So like I was kind of having fun at this point to be like, this is like the full like my power is at its fullest now. Like I'm gonna take everything out. Oh, we got the armor up. Okay, good.
Yeah, I got the armor up here. I was able to find the link Max sent me and open it up here. So this is pretty badass Jedi armor.
Yeah, and it apparently is the best armor in the game for a light side Jedi. But of course, you only get it for a temporary period of time, and you need like 25 spikes, or maybe you need like 22 with Jolie's computer skills or someone less. But like I was just out of spikes, so I couldn't get it.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. You do get to a big confrontation with Bass on the light side. Nick did not have to do this confrontation because you already got Bassel on his side. So this is, like, I'll let you tell us here, Nick. Like, how did you, like, was it basically just like wave of soldiers running to Malik?
Basically, is
Yeah.
wave of soldiers run to Malik. Malik first sends like a wave of droids because he doesn't fully know what Jedi are there, and then he starts sending more like Sith troopers and more Dark Jedi, and then he kind of has like this trio of Dark Jedi that he's like he basically tells them he's like I need a new apprentice, whichever one of you gets the final blow on Revan,
You're in.
you're my new apprentice. And so then though they came after us, but because it was me, Bastila, and Canderous, there was no cutscenes with me and Bastila. It was just fighting through wave after wave until we got eventually to the command center where Bastila stays behind
And
because she's
Candor
gonna start doing her like force meditation.
and Candor stays with her.
Yes.
Okay.
So then it's just me at that point, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, on the light side version, you're going out to fight Bastila. You get to the command center. She freezes out your companions. And important to note, Max, that like your companion choice at this point in the game is very important because like once you close the first door, you cannot switch.
Yes, once you get out of the Ebon Hawk past the first fight, you are stuck with those companions for the remainder of the Starforge section.
Yeah, so like I just went triple Jedi. I was like, I'm not taking any chances.
I did Jolie and Canderous because I really hadn't used Canderous much throughout the game, and at the like in the very last thing before you enter onto the Starforge, you can complete his quest even on the light side, and he still does the like, hell yeah, brother, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make use of that. But in retrospect, Triple Jedi would have been better.
Yeah, so this is going on. You get there, Bastila basically freezes your two companions. You fight her. She's like thinks, oh no, you can't beat me, and you have to beat her to go forward here. So Max, were you able to talk her back to the light?
I was able to talk her back to the light, just to kind of stick with the canon. I was like, "I love you, Bastila. Like you know, you should come back to the light side. I redeemed myself. People forgave me. They'll forgive you too." And you talk her out of it, and then she comes back to the light side. She starts using her battle meditation for the Republic, and the tide of the battle starts turning, and they start being able to land some blows in the Starforge.
Yeah, and that's definitely how you turn around it. If you don't have that storyline complete, I think you end up killing her. But like you do, same effect where the battle meditation has turned, and you are now Republic is now gaining ground. And we get to the confrontation with Malik on the light side, Max, and we had to deal with
Well,
the droid logic puzzle, which was so annoying.
yeah, is that a logic puzzle? I thought it was just like you just go to each terminal and you turn it off.
You need to get
What
the
was the
spikes.
logic?
You have to get the spikes though to like actually do it here. And
Oh, yeah, there's like a spike ABC counter, so you have to kill enough droids in order to get enough spikes to turn off all the terminals.
it's
It's
like
more just like enemy after enemy after enemy.
yeah, it's basically like if you don't realize it, you can just be fighting there for hours.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
that's the logic part of it, where you have to figure out that's the way to stop the droids. Otherwise, they just keep because they continuously respawn.
Ah, okay, that I see. Yeah, I think I realized because when I was walking up to the door, I looked at the terminals ahead of time, and so I realized, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to do something with these later. Uh, but otherwise, yes, you're just fighting for hours and hours and hours.
All right, let's talk about this final fight with Malik here, and definitely a lot of fun with this here. I will say the Malik battle strategy. I think the obvious thing here is like you have to fight him for a little bit. You realize that he has these Jedi that are near death. He's captured on Dantooine. He's using them basically as like free life supports. So like the easy way to get through this battle if you're playing it the first time is to just you know kill all of the Jedi, send them to their graves, and then like he can't basically reinforce himself. Then it's just your force versus his force. Is that the way you approached it, Max?
Yes, but there's a caveat. So I remember when I was doing this, when I did this battle, like the very first time I played this game years ago, it was so difficult. Like I remember I literally would like run around the arena and set up mines and he would just run through them and that's how I killed him. So like I've been dreading this fight the entire game. But I was like, oh, I'm maxed out, I'm better now. He was still tough. Then I was like, okay, I have to destroy all the Jedi containers and whatever. And then he won't be able to heal himself and it'll be fine. I did that, but I still couldn't kill him. I'm like, what is going on? You have to let him heal. So you have to kill all, at least from what I found, you have to kill all of them but three of the Jedi. You have to let him heal himself three times using those Jedi. And then afterwards, he was like a piece of cake. Now, I don't know if it's because he had to heal three times or it's because after that he had destroyed all of the Jedi himself or the Jedi had all been destroyed. But like, for whatever reason, until I did that, I could not kill him.
Yeah, Nick, what was your experience like in the Malik fight?
Yeah, no, I didn't have that. So I think you have to definitely let him do it at least once
Yeah.
because I told you guys off the air. I beat the boss. I beat Malik, but I had like 1 HP left, literally. But he like did something to me that like poisoned me. So Niblin died in a cutscene, and while the final cutscene's playing, the game was like, "Your party has died," and then the game crashed, and I was like, "Well, I got to do that again." But so an interesting thing, just to take one step back from the Malik fight, like all the cutscenes of the Republic coming and fighting the Sith, the difference between probably mine and your guys' playthrough is Bastila obviously is leading them into a trap because she knows she's going to do her battle meditation for the Sith. And an interesting scene plays out where it's like the commander and I can't remember the not Yoda name.
Vander or
Yeah.
Vandar.
Yeah.
Um he's like he's like this is gonna be good. I can feel the force meditation. It's gonna be, and then you see he has that pause and he's like, oh no, the meditation's not for us, it's for them. Oh boy. And then you kind of see them all be like, we need to retreat. And then he's like, we can't retreat. They're already surrounding us. Like this is it. The Republic's doomed. And then it cuts to the Malik fight. And I'm like, all right, you guys probably didn't get that cutscene. You guys probably got a different one, I'm assuming.
No, we got basically
Yeah.
Like Bandar saying I no longer feel your battle meditation against us. Times forward, press the attack, everybody.
Okay, so you got the opposite of it, yeah. So my fight with Malik, I went in, so I play a lot of like RPGs, JRPGs. So I'm like, I've been hoarding all of my items up until this point. So I was like, we're gonna do good. I had a visor where none of his force powers would like stop me or daze me. I took every single like high powered stim. I like injected myself with every single one. I put on all my shields and then I ran in and it was super easy. You just have to fight Malik until he goes down a little bit. He kills one of the Jedi. And then I ran around the room, force lightning to every single one of them, and then took him out. And then that was like the strategy to it. But like it was a pretty tough fight, like
It's
we're
still,
making it sound easy because we knew the strategy, but it is a tough fight.
but your first time going in, you don't think to do that. It'll just like be there for like an hour, and like you might like have to like try like 6 times before you beat him.
Well,
Yeah,
also
and
he
if you
just
don't realize to kill the Jedi, he's gonna keep healing himself over and over and over and over again. So it's you have to like, and you wouldn't think if you're playing a light side, you wouldn't be like, let me kill all these Jedi. You're not thinking like that perspective. So I could see why it would take a while.
It's a fantastic
even like a
addition to the
level.
final. Yeah, sorry, Max.
I would say like even like a level 20 character, like he will tear through your health. I don't know how, but like he just does so much more damage than any other enemy.
It's a fantastic boss fight because it is worthy of a final boss in the game. And like it forces you to think counterintuitively because like your thought is, oh, just attack him, attack him, attack him. But like you have to stop and go cut his health throws off before you go after him.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, we never like discussed our like what our battle strategies were this entire time, right? Like because I would always like I would try to do like a critical strike, then like a force kill, then like a flurry, then like a force lightning. Like I would try to do like one of everything until I saw something working more, and then I would stick to those. So for Malik, I was just critical strike, the force kill, which was my way of healing, and then like critical strike, force lightning, and I kind of just kept cycling those, and then med pack, and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah, clutch factor here, like when you pause and you like just deploy the med pack in the pause menu, it goes in faster than you having to do it in the actual game.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also of note here, I do think on a quick note on Vandar as well that Max, you know who voices Vandar?
Is it Frank Odd? Is that the twist?
No, it's actually Tom Kane who voices Yoda in Clone Wars.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
And this came
okay.
and this came before Clone Wars came out, so like they might have pulled him from this.
That's pretty good. Wait, was he Clone Wars '03?
He was in both Clone Wars.
Okay. But
So
that
like
was even before that. All right. That's pretty cool. I mean, he does a very good job. I guess he just doesn't do the for whatever reason, Vander doesn't speak in reverse speech, although I guess now we've seen that's something unique to Yoda as opposed to his species.
yeah, I remember the Yoda thing was basically like the way they explain is that like his master spoke that way, so he's like, honoring his master.
Hmm. I never knew that. Okay. Well, yes, Vander does not speak backwards, but he does have the same voice patterns as Yoda.
Yeah, and end
That
of the
makes
game.
sense.
Yeah, we end the game. Light side, you celebrate. You get brought down to Rakata Prime. The Old Republic is there. Vandar hails your entire party as heroes of the Republic, and that we forever remember in history the redemption of Revan. Nick,
It's
what
also very similar to the episode 4 scene at the end because they have like
medals?
uh Zalbar like has like the sound that Chewbacca makes, although I think he actually gets a medal. They're all like smiling and nodding the same way in episode 4. So
Yeah.
it's like a throwback to that.
Nick, dark side ending. What does it look like?
So it kind of, it's very reminiscent of like, the first time you meet the First Order,
Yeah,
and it's like there's like they're like all standing in like neat file lines, and then there's the one guy. Oh my God, what is his name? The guy
Hux.
Hux, yeah, Hux. And that like that first scene where Hux is standing there, and it's like very heavy-handed with what they're paying, they're showing. Um, it was very similar to that, but it was Bastila first, and she's like greeting everybody. I'm not sure what planet it was on. I didn't actually think to look at the background. I was just kind of watching what was going on, but Bastila's like, the Sith Lord is he's back. Revan is here, and then Revan walks out, and everyone is like cheering, and then it shows a cut scene of a whole bunch of Sith fleets flying towards. I don't know if which core world it is, but Bastila says something along the lines of like, we're gonna go after the core worlds now. The Republic is gonna be done. We outnumber them. Like this is it. We're gonna get them. It shows them. I'm assuming it was Coruscant, but I could be wrong. It shows a
I
bunch
think
of
the
Sith ships flying towards it, and then credits.
I think the world, I mean, it looks more like Korriban, but it could be Rakata Prime, just looking at some of like the architecture and door design.
I assume it's
Yeah,
Rakata Prime either way because you're the closest to it. It makes sense. That's where you park.
I think
It's
I think the
definitely
speech
Rakata
is on
Prime in the
Rakata.
late
Yeah,
side. It's definitely Rakata Prime in the late side ending.
yeah. I think the speech might be there, but the final scene shows the Sith fleet flying towards one of the core worlds, and that's to imply that like the Sith are about to annihilate the Republic.
All right.
Oh no, it's totally Rakata Prime. They just do it at sunset. Like the temple and stuff is the one that you went into.
All
Mm.
right, let's wrap up the experience here. A couple of notes here. Final thoughts on replaying the game, Max.
I okay. So the story definitely still holds up very, very thoroughly. I think the gameplay, um, the controls are clunky. However, I still enjoy the turn-based combat. I know turn-based combat is not for everybody, but I still think the combat was a lot of fun. Um, I think the best indicator of the game is whether you leave it wanting more. And I came out of playing KOTOR 1 being like, I really want to replay KOTOR 2 now. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's still a really solid RPG. It's definitely smaller than like a more modern role-playing game. It's not as meaty in terms of the content, but what's there is really, really good.
Yeah, Nick, your thoughts on the replay?
Yeah, I feel pretty similar. I mean, my favorite game of all time is the PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy 7, so I'm no stranger to like kind of clunky turn-based, RPGs. I yeah, but like the same thing. I feel like a good indication of a game and like really just anything is once it's over, yeah, do you want more of it? And we're right before we started recording, Mike, we were saying how it's like I'm like, this didn't feel like 30 hours of gameplay. This felt like this feels like I maybe like 10, like it went by so fast. And I think just the writing is great. I mean, BioWare is just, you know, and this is like BioWare like right before they hit their prime, I think. They're like really almost like I think they figured it out with Mass Effect, which we're not going to go into another that thing, but
This is
I
as
think
they're
the
peaking.
writing, yeah, the writing is great. They're like right on the cusp of like, oh my God, they're doing some great stuff. The gameplay doesn't hold up great, but I think the game itself is good enough where you can overlook a lot of the flaws of the gameplay because it's just good.
I agree with that sentence here because like it's one of those things where like, is there some dialogue choice I'd like to be refined a little bit? Yes. Is the gameplay the greatest and 22 years later? No, but it's still a lot of fun to go through it. If you were invested in the source material and the story here, it's going to be a very fun replay if you have the time to do that.
It also really made me miss the Legends canon because I just think that there was a lot of really rich lore from this time period that Disney wiped out, and I hope that they bring it back in some fashion, which it sounds like they are, at least in part.
Yep. Let's go to two more things and let Nick, you want to say something else?
No, I think we all covered it. I think we're the right demographic for this game. If you're the kind of person that wants like tight gameplay, maybe just like read the story of this. But if you want to get invested in a world and make decisions that like pan out later on, I think this is a good game to play.
All right, two more things here. We know that there is a remake that is allegedly happening. I don't think it will actually happen. I think Max and Nick would agree with me on this. How do we feel about like if the game happens, what would you want to see kept? What would you want to see improved? What are you going with, Nick? Like what would your wish list be if this game actually gets made?
I think if it actually gets made, I don't think you need to do anything really different with the story. I think the combat system would need to change. And I said Final Fantasy VII before. I think the blueprint is there for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, they took a very clunky turn-based system and they turned it like they made it more action oriented, like kind of similar to like a Jedi Survivor, but you can stop and choose all your abilities and take your time with it. So you have the option of going in, running fast, or taking your time. I think if you were to make it a little bit more of like a modern RPG, action RPG like that, then all you would really need to do is just, make the planets a little bit bigger, maybe add a couple more side quests here and there just to really flesh out everything to make it feel more lived in. Because it's 2003. A lot of the planets you're like, do five people live on this planet?
Yeah.
So like, but like I don't think you really need to change the core blueprint. Just modernize it and make it look nicer. And I think the story is good enough that you don't need to do anything different.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I would argue that there is a situation where you can go, okay, like, can we do the action version of this? I think that's certainly something that you would consider in the 2025 landscape of things. And maybe I feel like on the twist, maybe a couple of the more realistic light side, like dialogue option, other than, okay, Basil, I forgive you. I think other than that, I think like maybe clean up a couple of side quests. I think Nick hit the nail on the head. How about you, Max? Anything you want to add?
I think you could keep it as a turn-based RPG, but I might change the combat to more of like a Baldur's Gate 3 style. I mean, honestly, I like the combat in this game. I think it could control better, but if you wanted to update it, there are ways to do it without making it an action role RPG. Um, I agree with you in terms of like maybe clean up some of the dialogue, maybe add some sort of in the middle choices to the side quests. But all in all, like I would not want them to change the core story. I think that's something that needs to say central, and that was one of my fears with the remake was like, oh, are they going to totally change the story design, or are they going to kind of adhere to the script closely, which is what I think they should do.
All right. So that's one thing. Number two, we're in an age where we adapt video games now to other mediums, famously with The Last of Us. We've seen it with Fallout. We know there's a Legend of Zelda movie coming. We've seen Sonic and Mario movies here. If this got adapted into live action form, how would be the best way you would approach it? Would it be a movie, a trilogy of movies, a live action show, like of one or more seasons? So I'll go to you first, Max. How would you adapt this live action?
I think it has to be a TV show. I think if you do it as a movie, you're going to cram it down too much. And the core plot is kind of a little bit too fetch questy. It's like, go here, do this. I think if you do it as a live action TV show, you can kind of breathe and see a little bit more of the worlds, and it gives you a sense of the overarching story and the scale of the adventure. So I would not do it as a movie. I would do it as like 8 to 10 run limited series. And I think it would play out really, really well with that format.
I agree with Max, Nick. I looked at this sort of looking at it here. I think like my sweet spot would be like 10 episodes. That gives you enough time to sort of do the important stuff in the game, build up your characters side quests. You can dump stuff like the sex droid and like the Sandro Matali feud. Like you
You
can like
cannot dump that side quest. What are you talking about?
yeah. So I think like you can like condense and then that gives you room to like add in like some backstory or like do like a Last of Us where you have an episode on Bill and Frank or some sort of like maybe like a full like Bastila backstory episode or something like that. I think that the live action like series I think is the way to go.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with you guys that I think TV show seems to be the way to go to this because there's just a lot to do in it, and it would feel a little bit too rushed for a movie. I think we got the blueprint. I think the way that we broke down the planets, I think make every like follow the Andor thing, follow our blueprint. The first 3 episode arc is getting onto Taris and leaving Taris. Then the next 3 episode arc is Dantooine and and Kashyyyk. Like I feel like you could do like I think Andor's onto something with the 3 episode arcs, like almost like separate movies. And I think if you did like a 10 to 12 episode thing, just going through each planet and then 3 episodes, you have enough room to like you're not just landing on Dantooine and then leaving by the end of it. You get there, you learn a little bit about the world there, you get to the politics of it, whatever. Maybe you meet a person that's going to help you later. I think you can do that, but you would need to stretch it out over a TV show. I think video games, I think, just work better as TV shows than they do as movies.
Yeah, 'cause I
I
think
like
like
that idea. Having like an arc for each planet of like 2 episodes or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think you could do the planets themselves, like the star map planets in one episode. That's the way I think I'm looking at it here. I think you need like two for Taris. You might need one for Dantooine. I think like the Leviathan itself, I think like that and the Fallout should be its own episode.
Yes.
All right, so I think that's pretty much a good spot to wrap it up here. So it's crazy to believe that the KOTOR experience is over. It's been a wild time like going over this game the last 5 weeks. So it's definitely a lot of fun to go back and experience that again.
Yeah. It's been let's do it again for KOTOR too.
Yeah, I would love to do it for KOTOR too. And the Disney Plus experience for this would be so fun. I wish that like I know we talked earlier in the pod about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Nick. If they came out tomorrow and said, guess what, guys, 2027 live action Knights of the Old Republic series limited series coming to Disney Plus. How pumped are you?
I'd be more pumped for that than I think anything that they could say at this point. If that was the thing, I would stop everything I'm doing. I want to watch that show. Give me that. And Disney, if you're listening to this, we can storyboard it. We could all write it for you. We'll figure this out. We know what works. We'll get that going. But yeah, no, I this was fun to do in this format because previously when we've talked about Star Wars games, like we did both Jedi games, we kind of just did like one episode, just go through the whole game. So it's really cool to deep dive into every single thing and really, really drink up all that juicy lore that they have. So yeah, this was fun.
Are we still fan casting Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan?
Oh, that's a
That's
You
in the rumor
know,
internet for years.
there is a,
mm,
oh, I'm gonna send you because they have what he looks like. I could see it.
and
This is what Revan looks like canonically. And Mike, I'm gonna send you the link so you can put it up on the screen.
you know, Keanu Reeves as a Johnny Silverhand proves that he can be a little bit have a little bit of an edge while being like kind of like, so
Yeah, this is the version. I could see it.
This is the
I
canon.
could see
I
that.
can see canonically. I gotta also say though, like the punk rocker guy that Nick and I picked for our character, he kind of I think that's what he's based on. I think he kind of looks like that.
Yeah, I also want to interrupt the podcast here. We do have a special guest joining us right now. So
Oh,
a surprise for the podcast listeners. The great
Oh,
Pete
oh,
Casadori is
Pete's
back.
here. Hey,
hey,
Pete.
How you guys
welcome
doing?
back.
Yeah, because Pete's coming back next week. He wanted to come by and like let us know let the audience know what we're gonna be up to.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, first and foremost, thank you guys very much for filling in for me and Nick. You guys always do a phenomenal job, and please come back and help us out more and join the show and be guests on the show. You guys always add such a level of expertise that me and Nick sometimes can't. So we do appreciate it. So we have coming up, I think it's next week, Mike. We have Tales of the Underworld, highly anticipated for the Sky Guys. I have not watched it personally yet, but we will be watching that, going over that. And then piggybacking on a lot of the stuff we talked about when it comes to the Mandoverse and all of the criticisms I've given, we're going to be doing a rewatch of Mando season one over the summer. So that'll be cool. That'll be interesting. So make sure you follow along with that as well.
Yeah, so just a little reminder, Pete's gonna be back next week. Nick Friday will be back next week. We're gonna do Tales of the Otherworld and then the revisiting Mandalorian season one episodically for 8 weeks. So how does that sound to you guys?
That sounds pretty fun.
You already know
I have
I'm
not watched.
subscribed, so
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. And I want to echo Pete's sentiment as well. Thank you guys for filling in the past few weeks. It's been a lot of fun like doing this playthrough segment here. So well, I'll get you guys a chance to go here. Nick, people want to follow you on Twitch. How can I do that?
yeah, so go to twitch.tv/the recovery room, and then there's links for all the other social media stuff there.
And Max, one more time, people want to follow us on the social medias. How can they do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast or email skyguyspod@gmail.com.
And Pete, since you're here, you want to remind everybody how to follow you on social media.
Yeah, at Concy29 on Twitter, CONSY29. Haven't done that in a while. Had to make sure I remember it. AP Tower 308 posted this background on Reddit. Make sure you check them out. And also, make sure you're subscribed to the new YouTube channel. If you're not, you've been missing all this video content we had post Andor season 2. So make sure you're subscribed there as well.
We made fantastic use of the YouTube today, Pete. We spent a few minutes going over the Star Wars galaxy map.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Make sure you're watching the video stuff too. We put a lot of work in. Mike puts a lot of work in editing the video for you guys to see our beautiful faces. Well, I'll take mine out, but both Nick's, Max, and Mike's.
Yep, you can also follow me on social media, mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS 331. This week over on the Just End the Suffering podcast, we're giving you a Sky Guys feed drop over there. We're giving you the Andor Effect episode of Star Wars here. So good in the Sky Guys feed. We're going to give it to you over on Just End the Suffering for free. A few weeks later, but you're getting it, Pete.
It's all free. You don't got to pay. Make sure you subscribe.
Yep. So that's coming up here. We'll be back next week. Nick Friday will be back with me and Pete. We are going to cover Tales of the Underworld. Until then, may the Force be with you.